The bottle of human perfume was almost empty. Emma's hands trembled as she sprayed the last drops on her wrists, her neck, behind her ears. Anywhere her true scent might betray her. 3 years. She'd survived 3 years in the human town of Millbrook by drowning her wolf scent in synthetic florals and vanilla. 3 years since she'd fled her pack. 3 years since the massacre. But tonight something felt different. Tonight the air itself seemed to hold its breath. Emma stood in her small apartment above the coffee shop where she worked, staring at her reflection. Human eyes stared back, carefully contact lens to hide the amber that lurked beneath. Human posture. Human movements. Human everything. Except for the fear. Fear had a scent all its own, and no amount of perfume could mask it. Because today the rumors had reached even this forgotten human town. Alphaking Daniel was coming. The most powerful werewolf in 5 territories. The king who could smell a lie from a mile away. The predator who never lost his prey. And he was hunting for someone. Act 1. The hunter arrives. Emma had learned to love the mundane rhythm of human life. Wake at 5. Open the coffee shop at 6. Smile at customers. Make lattes. Pretend her hands didn't ache to shift, that her soul didn't howl for the moon. That Tuesday morning started like any other. "Morning, Emma," called Mrs. Chun, her favorite regular. "The usual, dear." Emma smiled, the expression now second nature. "1 oat milk cappuccino extra foam." "Coming right up." The steam wand hissed. The espresso machine gurgled. Human sounds. Safe sounds. Then the bell above the door chimed. And everything changed. The scent hit her first: pine and winter storm. Leather and something ancient. Something that made her wolf whimper and cower inside her chest. Her hands froze on the portafilter. The coffee grounds scattered across the counter. "Don't look up. Don't look up. Don't." "Interesting perfume choice," a voice said. "Deep. Commanding. Amused. Expensive, too. Midnight Garden by Rousseau. Retails for about $300 a bottle." Emma forced herself to breathe. To look up. He stood in the doorway like he owned it, tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair that fell just past his collar and eyes the color of molten gold. He wore a black suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent, but it was the way he carried himself that sent ice down her spine. This was a man, a wolf, who had never known fear, only inspired it. "Alphaking Daniel. Can I help you?" Her voice came out steadier than she felt. Those gold eyes tracked over her face, her throat, her hands. She felt stripped bare, examined, catalogued. His nostrils flared slightly. "Coffee. Black. And..." He tilted his head. A distinctly wolf gesture that made her pulse spike. "Information. Information isn't on the menu." The corner of his mouth lifted. "Everything's on the menu if you know how to ask." 2 more men entered behind him. Clearly his pack, clearly enforcers. They positioned themselves by the door and windows. Guarding. Trapping. Emma's fingers twitched toward the silver knife she kept hidden beneath the counter. Silver. The only thing that could kill their kind. "I'm looking for someone," Daniel continued, moving closer to the counter. Each step deliberate. "A wolf. Female. She disappeared 3 years ago from the Northern Territories. I have reason to believe she's hiding in a human town." This human town. Emma's heart hammered against her ribs. There are no wolves here. Just humans and their boring human lives. Boring. He leaned against the counter, and she caught his scent fully now. It made her dizzy, made her wolf rise up with interest and terror in equal measure. "You don't strike me as someone who finds life boring, Emma." Her blood turned to ice. "How do you know my name?" "Your tag." He gestured to her chest. She glanced down. "The name tag. Of course. Stupid. I don't know anything about wolves," she said firmly. "Now, did you want that coffee or not?" "I want many things." His eyes held hers. "Coffee is simply the most immediate." She made his coffee with shaking hands, hyper-aware of his gaze on her every movement. When she slid the cup across the counter, their fingers brushed. The contact sent electricity shooting up her arm. His pupils dilated and she knew he'd felt it too. That impossible pull. That recognition that lived deeper than scent or sight. "Mate bond." No. "$3.50, she said coldly. He placed $100 bill on the counter. Keep the change. And Emma. He leaned in close enough that she felt his breath on her cheek. Fear has a very distinctive scent, like copper and rain. Did you know that? Then he was gone, the bell chiming cheerfully in his wake. Emma's legs gave out. She caught herself on the counter, gasping, her carefully constructed world crumbling around her. He knew. Maybe not everything, but enough. Time passage. The rest of the day passed in a blur of anxiety. Emma spilled drinks, messed up orders, jumped at every sound. By closing time, her nerves were scraped raw. She locked up the shop and headed up the back stairs to her apartment, keys clutched between her fingers like a weapon. The hallway was dark. Too dark. Had the bulb burned out or... You're scared of me. Emma spun. Daniel stood at the top of the stairs, somehow larger in the confined space. I'm calling the police, she said, reaching for her phone. And tell them what? That a customer followed you home? They'd ask why you didn't mention it when I was still in your shop. Why you let me stay for 3 hours watching you work. You what? I sat in the corner. Had 4 cups of coffee and a blueberry scone. You knew I was there. Your body knew. Every time you moved, you positioned yourself to track me. That's not human behavior, Emma. She pressed her back against her door. Get away from me. Why did you run? He took a step closer. 3 years ago. The Northern Territories. Why? I don't know what you're talking about. The perfume is clever. Expensive synthetic compounds that cling to skin, mask natural pheromones. You've studied us. Learned how to hide. But you made one mistake. Her throat tightened. What mistake? You can mask attraction. You can mask identity. But fear. He was close enough now that she felt the heat radiating from him. Fear always breaks through. And you, Emma. You've been terrified from the moment I walked into that shop. Maybe I'm just afraid of stalkers. Maybe. His hand came up, hovering near her face but not touching. Or maybe you're afraid I'll discover that you're the daughter of Marcus Gray, former alpha of the Northern Pack, the only survivor of the rebellion that tried to overthrow me, the wolf who watched her entire family die, and then vanished into the human world. The words punched the air from her lungs. My name is Emma Brooks, she whispered. I'm human. Your name is Emma Gray. You're a wolf. And you're my mate. The world tilted. No, she breathed. Yes. His hand finally made contact, fingers trailing along her jaw. The touch sent shivers through her entire body. I've been searching for 3 years. I could smell you in my dreams. Taste you on the wind. The mate bond doesn't lie, Emma. No matter how much you wish it would. She shoved him hard, used her real strength. He barely moved, but his eyes flared with satisfaction. Proof. I'm not your mate. I'm not your anything. And if you really are Daniel, if you really are the Alpha King, then you killed my family. So stay away from me or I swear I'll. You'll what? The amusement vanished from his face, replaced by something colder. Harder. Kill me? You can try. Many have. Or you could listen. You could let me explain what really happened that night. I know what happened. I was there. Were you? Because from what I understand, you ran the moment the fighting started. You didn't see the end. You don't know the truth. Emma's hands clenched into fists. The truth is you murdered innocent wolves for daring to question your authority. The truth, Daniel said softly, dangerously, is that your father made a deal with hunters. He was going to expose our kind to humans in exchange for power. I stopped a genocide, Emma. Not started one. Liar. Am I? He pulled out his phone, pressed a few buttons and turned the screen toward her. Then explain this. The video showed her father, her proud, strong father, shaking hands with a man in tactical gear. In the background, silver weapons were stacked in crates. Documents exchanged hands. Her father's voice tinny through the phone speaker. Kill Daniel and the pack is yours. Then we move on the humans. Emma's vision blurred. It's fake. It has to be. It's authenticated. Multiple witnesses. Your father was planning to start a war between wolves and humans. He would have destroyed everything our kind has built. So yes, I killed him. And I'd do it again. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. That doesn't explain why you're here, she finally said. If you knew who I was, why not just kill me? Tie up loose ends. Daniel's expression softened. Because you're my mate. Because the moment I caught your scent 3 years ago in the ruins of your father's compound, everything in me recognized you. And because, he hesitated, something almost vulnerable crossing his features. Because I've been alone for a very long time, Emma. And I'm tired of being alone. The confession hung between them. I can't, Emma whispered. Even if what you say is true, I can't be what you want. I won't go back to that world. Then I'll stay in this one. What? You heard me. He stepped back, giving her space. I'll stay here. In Millbrook. I'll court you like a human. We'll date. Go to movies. Have dinner. And you can decide if you want to give us a chance. That's insane. You're a king. You can't just. Watch me. And with that, Alpha King Daniel turned and walked down the stairs, leaving Emma alone with her racing heart and the impossible choice before her. Act 2: The Courtship. True to his word, Daniel showed up the next morning at 6 a.m. sharp. What are you doing? Emma hissed, finding him leaning against the coffee shop door like he belonged there. I'm your new employee. I don't need an employee. You're chronically understaffed. I watched you yesterday. During the lunch rush, you had a line out the door and no help. He smiled that devastating smile. Consider me volunteer labor. You're an alpha king. You don't know how to make coffee. Then teach me. She wanted to argue, wanted to slam the door in his face. But Mrs. Chun was already approaching, and causing a scene wouldn't help her stay hidden. Fine, Emma ground out. But you do exactly what I say. Yes, ma'am. The first hour was a disaster. Daniel burned the espresso, oversteamed the milk, and somehow managed to jam the grinder. But he never complained, never used his authority, just kept trying with a determined patience that was annoyingly attractive. No, like this, Emma said, positioning his hands on the steam wand. The contact sent that familiar electricity through her. You have to create a whirlpool, see? Fold the milk, don't just heat it. Show me again. Their fingers tangled. His breath was warm on her neck. For just a moment, Emma let herself lean back into his solid presence, let herself feel safe for the first time in years. Then she caught herself and jerked away. You're doing this on purpose, she accused. Doing what? Being charming. Is it working? No. His smile said he knew she was lying. Days turned into weeks. Daniel showed up every morning, learned to make increasingly better coffee, charmed the regular customers, and slowly, imperceptibly, worked his way into the fabric of Emma's life. He fixed the broken ice machine without being asked. He stayed late to help with inventory. He walked her home every night, never pushing for more than conversation. And oh, they talked. About everything and nothing. Books, movies, the best pizza toppings, a debate that lasted 3 days. He told her about growing up as an alpha's son, the weight of expectations, the loneliness of leadership. She found herself sharing her own stories, carefully edited, but more honest than anything she'd allowed herself in years. Why do you do it? Emma asked one evening as they sat on her apartment rooftop, watching the sunset paint the sky in oranges and pinks. All that responsibility, all that power. Doesn't it get exhausting? Daniel was quiet for a long moment. Every day. But someone has to protect our kind. Someone has to make the hard choices. And I was born into it, trained for it. What else would I do? You could choose yourself. Your own happiness. Could I? He turned to look at her. Or would that be the most selfish thing imaginable? To abandon my pack, my people, just to chase my own desires? Emma felt the weight of his words. That's what I did. I chose myself. Ran away. Left everything behind. You survived. That's not selfish. That's brave. It doesn't feel brave. Daniel reached over, his hand covering hers. The bravest thing you can do is keep living after your world ends. You did that. You built a new life. That takes strength most wolves don't have. Something in Emma's chest cracked open. A wall she built 3 years ago, reinforced every day, suddenly developing fissures. Daniel. I know, he said softly. I'm not asking you to decide anything tonight. I'm just asking you to let me stay. And God's help her, she wanted him to stay. The touches became more frequent. His hand at the small of her back. Her fingers brushing his when she handed him coffee cups. The accidental, or not so accidental moments when their bodies pressed together in the narrow space behind the counter. The mate bond sang between them, growing stronger each day. Emma felt herself changing, opening. Her wolf, dormant for so long, began to stir. She caught herself watching the moon with longing, craving the forest beyond town, wanting to run, to shift, to be what she truly was. And always Daniel was there, patient, steady, waiting. 1 month to the day after he'd arrived, Emma made a decision. "Close your eyes," she told him as they climbed the stairs to her apartment. "Emma, just do it." He obeyed, though his body tensed with alertness. She led him inside, positioned him in the center of her small living room. Then she removed her contact lenses, washed off the perfume, let her scent, her true scent, fill the space between them. "Okay," she whispered. "Open." Daniel's eyes opened. Amber met gold. Wolf recognized wolf. "Emma," he breathed. "If we do this," she said, her voice shaking, "if I let myself, you have to promise me something. Anything. No more lies. No more politics. If I'm yours, you're mine too. Not the king. Not the alpha. Just Daniel." "Just Daniel," he agreed. Then softer. "I've only ever been just Daniel in my head. In the spaces between decisions. But with you, yes. I promise." She closed the distance between them. Her hand came up to cup his face, feeling the slight stubble on his jaw, the heat of his skin. "I'm terrified," she confessed. "Me too." "You?" "Terrified. Of losing you. Of failing you. Of not being enough beyond the crown and the power." Emma's heart squeezed. Here was the truth of him. Not the alpha king, but the man underneath. Vulnerable. Uncertain. Human in all the ways that mattered. "You're enough," she whispered. Then she kissed him. The world exploded. The mate bond, held at bay for weeks, snapped into place with a force that drove them both to their knees. Emma gasped against his mouth, feeling him everywhere. In her blood, her bones, her soul. He was hers and she was his, and there was no separating them now. Daniel's hands tangled in her hair. He kissed her like she was oxygen. Like she was salvation. Like she was everything he'd been searching for across years and territories, and the vast loneliness of leadership. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Emma felt transformed. Complete. Like a part of herself that had been missing had finally clicked into place. "Emma," Daniel said, his voice rough, "I need to tell you something." The seriousness of his tone cut through the haze. "What?" "The reason I came to Millbrook. It wasn't just to find you." Cold dread pooled in her stomach. "What do you mean?" "There's a threat. Hunters. The same group your father was working with. They didn't disappear after the rebellion. They've been planning. Building. And," he swallowed hard, "they know you're here." Act 3. The danger. Emma pulled away, her mind racing. "How long have you known?" 2 weeks. "I didn't want to scare you. I've had my pack watching the town, setting up protection." 2 weeks? "You've known for 2 weeks and you didn't tell me." "I was trying to keep you safe." "By lying to me?" "By letting me think." She pressed her hands to her face. "You promised. No more lies." "It wasn't a lie." "It was. A lie of omission is still a lie, Daniel." He reached for her, but she stepped back. The hurt in his eyes cut her, but her anger burned hotter. "Emma, please." The window exploded. Glass showered the room. Emma dove instinctively, rolling behind the couch as Daniel shifted. The change so fast it was nearly invisible. One moment man, the next a massive dark wolf placing himself between her and the window. "Tranquilizer darts," she breathed, spotting the 3 darts embedded in the wall. Wolfsbane tipped. Those had hit Daniel. More movement outside. Shadows on the fire escape. Daniel snarled, a sound that vibrated through the floor. Emma's survival instincts kicked in. She grabbed her go-bag from the back of the closet, always packed, always ready, and the silver knife from her bedside table. "We have to move," she said. "Now." Daniel shifted back, already reaching for his phone. "My pack is 3 minutes out." "We don't have 3 minutes." They'll breach the door in 30 seconds. Is there another way out? The roof. They ran. Behind them, Emma's door splintered. Heavy footsteps. Male voices coordinating. Alphaking spotted. Subject gray with him. Take them both alive if possible. The roof access was stuck. Daniel slammed his shoulder against it once, twice. Move, Emma ordered. She picked the lock in 5 seconds flat, a skill from her running days, and they burst onto the roof. The Millbrook skyline spread before them. 3 stories up. Too high to jump safely even for wolves unless. There, Daniel pointed. The adjacent building was lower, close enough to reach. Barely. You first, Emma said. No. You're the king. You're more important. Go. Emma. She shoved him hard. He stumbled backward, caught himself at the edge, then made the decision. Backed up. Ran. Leaped. He made it, rolling to absorb the impact. Emma turned to follow. A hand grabbed her ankle. She went down hard, chin cracking against the roof. Stars exploded across her vision. The hunter hauled her backward, and she saw him clearly now. Tactical gear, weapons, a face twisted with hatred. Got the gray girl, he said into his radio. Taking her in. Emma's wolf surged up. 3 years of suppression shattering in an instant. She shifted, the change ripping through her body, and her clothes tore as fur and claws emerged. The hunter swore, reaching for his weapon. Emma's jaws closed around his wrist. She didn't bite down, just held, just warned. The man froze. Let her go. Daniel stood at the roof's edge, having somehow made the impossible jump back. His eyes were full wolf now, glowing gold in the darkness. Behind him, more wolves appeared. His pack finally arrived. The hunter dropped a smoke grenade. Chaos erupted. Emma lost the hunter in the smoke, coughing, trying to shift back. Strong arms grabbed her. Daniel sent safe, and then they were moving. Down the fire escape, through alleys she didn't recognize, into a van that smelled like pack and safety. Drive, Daniel ordered, and they were gone. Safe house scene. The pack safe house was 15 miles outside Millbrook, hidden in deep woods. Emma sat on a couch, wrapped in a blanket, trying to stop shaking while pack members moved around her with military efficiency. Daniel emerged from a back room, now in clean clothes. He knelt in front of her. You're safe, he said quietly. They won't find us here. How many were there? At least a dozen. Professional hunters. Well armed. They've been planning this for weeks. Because of me. They came because of me. No. His hands covered hers. They came because they hate what we are. You're just an excuse. But Emma, his voice roughened. When I saw him grab you, when I thought I might lose you, you came back. That jump should have been impossible. Nothing's impossible where you're concerned. He touched her face gently. I meant what I said. You're my mate. My priority. My everything. And I will burn the world down before I let anyone hurt you. Emma leaned into his touch. I'm sorry I got angry. You were trying to protect me. And you were right. I should have told you. No more secrets. I promise. Even if the secret is dangerous. Especially then. One of Daniel's pack members, a woman named Sarah, approached. Alpha, we've identified the hunter from the roof. Thomas Crane. He's ex-military. Now works for a hunter organization called the Silver Dawn. They've been building for years. At least 200 members. 200. Emma's blood chilled. That's an army. Yes, Daniel said grimly. And they're not just targeting you. They're planning something bigger. An attack. We intercepted communications mentioning the gathering. Emma's breath caught. The gathering? But that's every pack in the region. 500 wolves in one place. If they attack during the gathering, it would be a massacre. We have to warn them, Emma said. Cancel it. Move it. Something. We can't. The gathering is sacred tradition. Cancel it and we look weak. But I have a plan. Daniel's expression turned calculating. We move the gathering. Changed the location at the last minute. Then we set a trap. You want to draw them out. I want to end this. Permanently. Sarah cleared her throat. There's something else. The hunters, they're specifically asking for Emma. They have a bounty on her. $1 million. Why me? Emma asked. I'm nobody. You're Marcus Gray's daughter, Daniel said. To them you're a symbol. The last of the bloodline that tried to betray us to humanity. They want to make an example of you. Then use me. The words came out before Emma fully thought them through. I'll be the bait. Absolutely not. Daniel, think about it. They want me. Let them think they can have me. Set up a meeting, draw them out. No. And then your pack takes them down. All of them. End this in one night. I said no. His voice carried alpha command now, the weight that made wolves submit. But Emma was his mate, and mate bonds transcended pack hierarchy. She stood her ground. You don't get to command me. I'm not your subject. I'm your equal. The room went silent. Pack members exchanged glances. Daniel stood slowly. Emma. Those hunters killed my family. Twisted my father into something unrecognizable. They've been hunting me for 3 years. And now they threaten your pack. Our pack. She stepped closer. Let me do this. Let me help end it. If something happens to you, then you'll have my back. Like I'll have yours. That's what mates do, right? The internal war played across his face. Alpha versus man, duty versus love. Finally, he exhaled. We do this my way. Every precaution. You're wired, you're protected, and at the first sign of real danger we extract you. Agreed. Agreed. He pulled her close, pressed his forehead to hers. You're going to be the death of me, Emma Gray. Emma King, she corrected softly. If we're doing this, if we're really mates, then I'm Emma King. His eyes widened. Then he smiled. Not the charming smile he used on others, but something real and vulnerable and wholly hers. Emma King, he repeated. I like the sound of that. Act 4, The Trap. They set the meeting for 3 days later, at the old sawmill on the edge of town. The location was Daniel's choice. Lots of exits, good sightlines for his pack. Isolated enough that no humans would stumble into the crossfire. Emma wore a wire. Silver knife in her boot. Wolfsbane antidote in her pocket just in case. Daniel's pack ringed the perimeter, invisible in the darkness. She stood alone in the center of the sawmill, breathing steadily, feeling the weight of dozens of eyes on her. The hunters arrived exactly on time. Thomas Crane led them, 15 men heavily armed. He smiled when he saw Emma. Emma Gray. You're smaller than I expected. I get that a lot. She kept her voice level calm. You wanted to meet. Here I am. Where's your mate? The big bad Alpha King. Far from here. He doesn't know about this meeting. Crane laughed. You expect me to believe that? That Daniel would let his mate walk into danger alone? I don't expect you to believe anything. I expect you to listen. Emma took a breath. My father was wrong. What he tried to do, exposing our kind, starting a war, it was wrong. And you're wrong too. Hunting us like animals. We just want to live. You are animals, Crane spat. Monsters pretending to be human. Your kind killed my brother. And your kind killed my father. My mother. My sister. When does it end? When every last wolf is dead. Emma felt her wolf stir, angry, protective. She pushed it down. Then you'll have to start with me. Crane raised his weapon. Daniel exploded from the shadows, shifting mid-leap, a blur of fur and fury. He hit Crane like a freight train, and the night erupted into chaos. Wolves poured from the darkness. The hunters opened fire. Regular bullets that wolves could heal from, but the noise was deafening. Emma shifted, her wolf form smaller than Daniel's but fast, agile. She dodged through the combat, taking down hunters with precise strikes. Not killing but disabling. A hunter grabbed her from behind. Emma twisted, kicked, heard something crack. She was free, running, circling back to help. Silver wire. The net fell from above, weighted with silver that burned everywhere it touched. Emma yelped, trapped, her wolf form vulnerable to the metal. "Got her!" someone shouted. Through the mesh, Emma saw Daniel turn. Saw the moment he realized she was caught. The roar that came from him was pure alpha rage. A sound that made every wolf and hunter freeze for a split second. He charged toward her. Thomas Crane stepped into his path, holding not a gun but a silver spear. "Come on, Your Majesty," Crane taunted. "Let's see if you bleed like the rest." Daniel didn't hesitate. He shifted to human form, grabbed a fallen hunter's knife, and the two men clashed. They were evenly matched, Crane with his silver weapon and military training, Daniel with his supernatural strength and centuries of combat experience. They moved through the sawmill like dancers, brutal and precise. Emma struggled against the net, feeling her skin blister where the silver touched. She had to get free. Had to help him. The silver knife in her boot. With her last bit of strength, Emma shifted to human form, the change excruciating through the silver burns, and grabbed the knife. She cut through the net, ignoring the agony as more silver touched her skin. Free. She staggered upright, looking for Daniel. He was down. Crane stood over him, spear raised for the killing blow. Emma ran. She had no weapon. No plan. Just pure instinct and the mate bond screaming at her to save him. She tackled Crane from the side. They went down together, rolling, grappling. He was stronger, but she was desperate. Her hand found his throat. Squeezed. "Emma, don't." Daniel's voice rough with pain. "He'll kill you," she gasped. "And killing him will kill you. Your soul. Don't let them make you into something you're not." Crane thrashed beneath her. It would be so easy. One more second of pressure. But Daniel was right. Emma released Crane and scrambled back. The hunter gasped for air, then lunged for his spear. A massive gray wolf Sarah landed on him, pinned him. Other pack members secured the remaining hunters with practiced efficiency. It was over. Daniel reached for Emma, pulled her close. They were both covered in blood and burns, but alive. Together. "You saved me," he said. "You would have done the same. I would have killed him." "I know." Emma touched his face. "But I'm trying to be better than what my father was. What he taught me to be." "You already are." Epilogue: The choice. 6 months later, Emma stood at the edge of the woods outside Millbrook, looking back at the town that had been her refuge. "Having second thoughts?" Daniel asked beside her. "No. Maybe. I don't know." She laughed. "Is that allowed?" "You're allowed anything." The hunters had been dealt with trials, justice, and for some mercy. Thomas Crane was in prison, his organization dismantled. The wolf packs were safe. And Emma had a choice. "I could stay," she said. "Keep living human. Keep the coffee shop. You could keep pretending to be my employee. I make decent lattes now. You burn the espresso 60% of the time. So I'm improving." Emma smiled, but it faded quickly. "Or I could go with you. Back to the pack. Be the queen. Accept all of it, the politics, the responsibility, the danger. Or," Daniel said carefully, "you could choose something else entirely. We could find a middle ground. Split our time. Build a pack here, close to your human life." She turned to look at him. "You do that? Rebuild everything. I'd do anything for you." I thought that was clear by now. The mate bond hummed between them, warm and certain. These 6 months had taught Emma many things. That love wasn't about forgetting the past, but about choosing the future. That family wasn't just blood, but the people who stood by you. That strength came in many forms, and sometimes the bravest thing was letting yourself be vulnerable. "I want both," she said finally. "The human world and the wolf world. The coffee shop and the pack. I want to teach our people that hiding isn't the same as surviving. That we can live among humans without losing ourselves." Daniel's hand found hers, fingers intertwining. "Then that's what we'll build. Together." "Together," she echoed. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Emma's breath caught. "Before you panic," he said with a slight smile. This isn't just a human tradition. Among wolves, when mates commit to each other fully, we exchange tokens. Something that carries our scent, our essence. I had this made for you. He opened the box. Inside was a ring, but not just any ring. The band was woven silver and gold, and set in the center was a moonstone that seemed to glow from within. Moonstone for the wolf in you, Daniel explained. Silver for your strength. Yes, I know it usually harms us, but this is treated, blessed by pack elders. It represents your courage to carry something painful and transform it into beauty. And gold. His voice softened. Gold for the bond between us. Unbreakable. Eternal. Emma's eyes burned with tears. Daniel. Emma Gray, who became Emma Brooks, who will now be Emma King. Will you be my mate? My queen? My partner in all things? She couldn't speak. Could only nod as tears spilled down her cheeks. He slid the ring onto her finger, and the moment the metal touched her skin, she felt it. A completion of the mate bond so profound it stole her breath. Every cell in her body recognized him, claimed him, bound to him. Daniel pulled her close, and they stood there at the border between two worlds. Human town behind them, wolf territory ahead. And Emma realized she didn't have to choose. She could be both. She was both. I love you, she whispered against his chest. I don't think I've said that yet. But I do. I love you so much it terrifies me. Good, he murmured into her hair. Terror means it matters. And I love you too, Emma. From the moment I caught your scent 3 years ago, through every day of searching to right now. You're my home. Final scene. The coffee shop reopened 2 weeks later with a new sign. Emma's Blend, a coffee shop and pack house. The front remained the same. Cozy cafe, human customers, the best lattes in Millbrook. But in the back, through a door marked private, was a space for wolves. A safe haven. A place where pack members could stop while passing through human territory. Where young wolves could learn to navigate both worlds. Emma stood behind the counter on opening day, watching her two worlds merge. Mrs. Chun ordered her usual oat milk cappuccino. At a corner table, 3 wolves from Daniel's pack studied for their college entrance exams. A human teenager worked the register, completely unaware that her co-workers could transform into massive predators. It shouldn't work. But somehow it did. Daniel emerged from the back, carrying a box of supplies. He'd insisted on keeping his employee role, much to the amusement of his pack. Your Majesty, Sarah called out teasingly, we need more napkins. That's Mr. King to you, Daniel shot back with a grin. And get them yourself. I'm busy. Emma laughed. This impossible, beautiful, chaotic blend of everything she was. This was home. That evening after closing, they climbed to the rooftop. The same rooftop where hunters had attacked. Where everything had changed. But tonight it was peaceful. The moon hung full and bright overhead. Do you ever regret it? Emma asked. Giving up some of your authority to be here? I didn't give it up. I expanded it. The pack is stronger now. We have wolves living in human cities, building bridges, creating connections. You showed us a new way. We showed them, she corrected. We, he agreed. Emma felt her wolf stir, responding to the moonlight. She hadn't shifted freely in so long, had suppressed that part of herself for years. But now, want to run? Daniel asked, sensing her mood. Through town? Are you crazy? Through the woods. Let me show you the territory. Our territory. It was reckless. Dangerous. Perfect. They stripped off their clothes, shifted in perfect synchrony. Emma's wolf form felt different now, stronger, more confident. Not hiding but free. They ran. Through the woods, over streams, beneath the canopy of ancient trees. Daniel's wolf was larger, but Emma was faster. They chased and played and hunted, a mated pair in their element. Emma felt the joy of it, pure, uncomplicated joy. She was a wolf. She was human. She was both. She was whole. They stopped at a clearing where the moonlight pooled like liquid silver. Daniel shifted back, and after a moment Emma did too. You're glowing, he said, wonder in his voice. Emma looked down. Her skin seemed to shimmer in the moonlight, and she realized this was what it meant to be fully herself. No more hiding. No more fear. Just existence in all its complicated, beautiful truth. Is this what you saw? She asked. When you first caught my scent. Is this what you were searching for? No, Daniel said honestly. What I was searching for was incomplete. A fantasy. An ideal mate who would fit perfectly into my world. He cupped her face. What I found was so much better. A real woman. Complicated and scarred and brave. Someone who challenged me. Changed me. Made me better. We made each other better. We did. They made love there under the moon. Not as king and subject. Not as alpha and omega, but as equals. As mates. As partners in every sense of the word. And when they finally returned to town, dressed and human once more, Emma felt the truth settle into her bones. She had run from her past for 3 years. Had hidden, had survived, had barely lived. But now? Now she was running toward her future. And it was glorious. True ending. 5 years passed. The coffee shop expanded to 3 locations. Emma's blend of human-wolf integration became a model for packs across the country. Young wolves came from everywhere to learn how to live in both worlds. Daniel's leadership changed too. Less iron-fisted, more collaborative. He built a council, shared power, listened. The packs thrived. And Emma? Emma stood in the original Millbrook location, one hand on her rounded belly, watching the morning rush. She was 7 months pregnant. Carrying twins, the pack healer said. A boy and a girl. The next generation. Careful, Daniel warned, appearing at her elbow. You're supposed to be resting. I'm pregnant, not broken. You're also queen, and you have people who can cover for you. I like working. She turned to kiss him quickly. Besides, Mrs. Chun specifically requested I make her cappuccino today. Can't disappoint a regular. Daniel sighed but smiled. Stubborn. You knew what you were getting into. Best decision I ever made. The bell chimed. A young woman entered, nervous, looking around uncertainly. Emma caught her scent immediately. Wolf. And scared. Emma knew that look. Had worn it herself once. She moved to greet the girl. Hi. Welcome to Emma's Blend. First time here. Ah yes. I heard this was a safe place. For people like us. It is. Emma smiled warmly. The safest. Are you running from something? The girl's eyes filled with tears. Everything. Emma glanced at Daniel, who nodded and took over the counter. She led the girl to a quiet corner, brought her tea and sat down. Tell me your story, Emma said gently. And the girl did. A tale of a pack gone wrong, of abuse and fear, of finally finding the courage to run. It was a story Emma understood intimately. You did the right thing, Emma said when the girl finished. Running when you need to isn't weakness. It's survival. And survival is the first step to living. What's the second step? Emma looked around the coffee shop, at the humans and wolves coexisting, at Daniel making lattes with their pack, at the life she'd built from the ashes of her old one. The second step is choosing to stay. Not because you have to, but because you want to. Building something new. Something yours. How do I do that? One day at a time. One choice at a time. And you don't do it alone. Emma squeezed the girl's hand. We have a room upstairs. It's yours for as long as you need it. No obligations. No expectations. Just safety and time to figure out what you want. The girl's face crumpled. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank me by paying it forward someday. When you're strong enough, help someone else who's running. After the girl left to settle in, Daniel came over. Another stray? He teased gently. Another survivor, Emma corrected. Like I was. Like we all are. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, hands settling on her belly. One of the twins kicked and they both felt it. They're going to be amazing, Daniel murmured. With you as their mother. With us as their parents, Emma said. They'll know both worlds. They'll never have to choose. No, Daniel agreed. They'll never have to choose. The morning sun streamed through the windows and Emma closed her eyes, breathing in the scent of coffee and packin' home. She had been Emma Gray, the girl who watched her world burn. She had been Emma Brooks, the woman who hid in plain sight. Now she was Emma King, mate, queen, mother-to-be, and bridge between worlds. And she had never been more herself. The story of how the Alpha King found his mate became legend among the packs. They told it to young wolves who struggled with their dual nature. They told it to those who wanted to hide, to run, to give up. They told it as a reminder. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop running. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let yourself be found. And sometimes the person hunting you becomes the person who saves you. Not from the world, but from yourself. Final line. Emma King smiled, placed her hand over Daniel's on her belly, and whispered to her unborn children. Once upon a time, your mother masked her scent and hid among humans. Until your father, the Alpha King, smelled her fear. But this isn't a story about fear. This is a story about love. And love, my darlings, is the only thing stronger than fear. Remember that. Always.